As a black woman, my politics and political affiliation are bound up with and flow from participation in my people's struggle for liberation and the fight of oppressed people all over the world against American imperialism. To understand how any society functions, you must understand the relationship between men and women. I think the importance of doing activist work is precisely because it allows you to give back and consider yourself not as a single individual who may have achieved whatever, but as part of an ongoing historical movement. Racism, in the first place, is a weapon used by the wealthy to increase the profits they bring in by paying black workers less for their work. Had it not been for slavery, the death penalty would have likely been abolished in America. Slavery became a haven for the death penalty. I think that has to do with my awareness that in a sense we all have a certain measure of responsibility to those who have made it possible for us to take advantage of the opportunities. Poor people, people of color, especially, are much more likely to be found in prison than in institutions of higher education. You can never stop, and as older people, we have to learn how to take leadership from the youth. I guess I would say that this is what I'm attempting to do right now. The work of the political activist inevitably involves a certain tension between the requirement that a position is taken on current issues as they arise and the desire that one's contributions will somehow survive the ravages of time. Now, if we look at the way in which the labor movement itself has evolved over the last couple of decades, we see increasing numbers of black people who are in the leadership of the labor movement, and this is true today. That's true, but I think the contemporary problem that we are facing, increasing numbers of black people and other people of color being thrown into a status that involves work in alternative economies, and increasing numbers of people who are incarcerated. I grew up in the southern United States in a city which at that time during the late 40s and early 50s was the most segregated city in the country, and in a sense learning how to oppose the status quo was a question of survival. My name became known because I was, one might say, accidentally the target of state repression, and because so many people throughout the country and other parts of the world organized around the demand for my freedom. It's true that it's within the realm of cultural politics that young people tend to work through political issues, which I think is good, although it's not going to solve the problems. Well, of course there's been a great deal of progress over the last 40 years. We don't have laws that segregate black people within society any longer.